Hi, kindergarten artists. Today we're going to learn about Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh was born in the Netherlands, and the Netherlands is a small country over in Europe by France and Germany. By the age of 27, he had had a lot of jobs. He had been a teacher and a preacher, but his real passion was creating art. Van Gogh painted anything that he saw, including the small room that he rented in a house. So you can see the painting of his room on the left. On the right, there is bright painting of sunflowers that grew outside of his house. And on the bottom, there are bright blue irises that also grew nearby. So he would paint anything that he would see around him to get a lot of practice. Self-portraits were one of the things that he painted a lot of as well. The reason that a lot of artists will paint self-portraits is because it's very easy to practice drawing yourself when you're around yourself all the time. So if you have a mirror at home and a piece of paper and a pencil, you can create a self-portrait to practice your skills. Any self-portrait is artwork that shows the person who created it. So he did a lot of paintings of his own face. So if I were to draw a portrait of myself, that would be a self-portrait. He also created still life paintings. Still life paintings are anything that is around the artist. So you can see two different vases of flowers that he would paint inside of his own home. And there's a painting of his own shoes. Now, the reason that an artist would create a still life is because they can arrange or place the objects where they want them to stay. They don't move around a lot. So if you're painting a person or an animal or outside, things are going to move around, which can make it kind of frustrating to paint. But when an artist creates a still life, those objects will stay still and make it much easier to create their paintings. Another category that an artist will create is called a landscape. And Vincent van Gogh loved to paint landscapes as well. You can see three different landscapes here. These were all near his home, so he would take his canvas, his brushes, and his paints outside to paint. And he would paint quickly with his very quick brush strokes. We're going to look at some other paintings, and I'm sure you're going to recognize one of them. This is Starry Night. This is one of the world's most famous and recognizable paintings. This was created by Van Gogh outside of a window that he was staying. You can see how he started with a sketch on the left, so he practiced his composition, or where things are going to be placed, before he went on to his painting. You can see the Van Gogh's brushstrokes swirling in the sky. That became very famous for him. He used a lot of movement in his paintings. He also used lots of layers of paint in his paintings. We're going to look at a few of them in a little bit. So he would put layer upon layer upon layer of paint, and it was very, very thick, and it would actually stick out. So here are some close-ups of Van Gogh's paintings. You can see how thick that paint has been put on. He did not create these paintings in one day. These paintings would take many hours, days, weeks, even months to create. He would layer and layer and layer to create that textured effect. The inspiration for today's project is this painting on the right. This is called Vase with 12 Flowers. You can see that he has lots of large sunflowers in a vase. This is a still life again, where the objects are still and remains still. They're from real life as well. Sunflowers were one of Van Gogh's favorite subjects. They're one of my favorite flowers as well. So we're going to create a drawing that is inspired by this painting. Here is another Van Gogh painting of sunflowers. Let's look at the different shapes that you see. You see lots of big circles for the centers of the sunflowers. All of the sunflowers are different sizes and they're overlapping. Remember, overlap is when one thing is slightly in front of the other, making it look like it's in front of it. So we're going to be using overlap, and we're going to be using circles like we see here for the center of the flower to create our own vase of sunflowers. Garden artist, today we're going to start working on our Vincent van Gogh inspired sunflower still life. Now, a still life is anywhere that an artist has drawn or painted a picture of something that is still and in real life. So if I were to draw a picture of this glue bottle that I have here, it would be considered a still life. We're going to be drawing some flowers, and you're going to notice that these sunflowers are very large and they're overlapping each other. When you have a vase of flowers, they're not all sitting nice and neat in a row. They're going to overlap, so we're going to use that as well. We're going to make sure that our flowers have something to sit on and a nice big vase. So let's get started. I'm going to get my white paper and my pencil and eraser. And you're also going to need a black marker. I'm going to be using a dry erase marker because that's what I have here at my house. If you have a Sharpie marker or if you have a regular black marker, those will work too. If you don't have a black marker, a color pencil will work as well. So we're going to start by making our vase, and our vase needs to be really big because sunflowers are really big flowers. So about a hand space from the bottom of our paper, we're going to draw 2 C shapes, and then we're going to connect those C shapes just on the bottom. That's going to form the top part of our vase. Down here near the bottom of my paper, I'm going to draw the bottom part of my vase. You could draw any shape for your vase, any kind of line. Try to make sure that it's a symmetrical vase. I'm going to go from here, and I'm just going to curve down like this, and I'm going to go from here and curve down like this. This one I did a little bit more of a curve too. So now I'm going to make my table. We have to have somewhere for our flowers to sit, so I'm going to go from one side of my paper, and I'm going to go all the way across to my vase, and then stop, jump over, and finish the line to the edge of the paper. So now it looks like my vase is sitting on top of the table. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw one really large circle. So there's the start of one sunflower. To make sunflower petals, they're like raindrops. I'm going to draw a dot right about there, and I'm going to curve my line down. And I'm going to turn my paper, and I'm going to do it again and again, all the way around until I have filled up that sunflower. And I'm going to overlap that vase, and that's okay. We're just going to pretend that that's not there. We're overlapping. And this helps make our vase of sunflowers look very realistic or real. All right, I can squeeze one more in there. Perfect. Okay, now here's where that black marker comes in. We're going to trace this flower first, not the vase or anything else, just this one flower. So I'm going to use my marker and I'm going to go around the center, and then I'm going to trace all of my petals. And again, I'm turning the paper so that it's easier on my hand, but you do what you need to do. So here I overlapped, and I traced that overlap. We've talked about that before. There we go. And now to make the seed part in the center of the sunflower, I'm going to draw diagonal lines. Straight diagonal lines like this. Straight diagonal lines like this. If you want to do that with pencil first, that's okay too. Okay, now I'm going to put the marker cap on. I'm going to draw another big circle. But we're going to pretend that this isn't even here right now. I'm going to do a big circle right here. Remember, this is invisible right now. I'm going to draw my big petals again. Sunflowers are really, really big. I might only be able to fit 2 on my paper today, and that's okay. Remember, pretending that that sunflower is invisible. It's not even there. Okay, So now, remember when we talked about overlap earlier this year? Well, when we talked about overlap earlier, we remember that one thing is on top, and when we trace, we cannot trace through that space. So I'm going to start here with my big circle. And I come here and I'm going to stop. Can I trace here? Nope. What about here? Nope, because that's part of B's petals. But can I trace here? Yes. So I'm going to trace that line. And I'm going to start tracing my petals. Whoa! I got to a petal. I can't go through it, so I have to go around it. Can I trace these? No, because those are behind there. So I'm just going to look. Oh, can't trace yet. Oh, there's a little spot here. And now I'm back to my usual sunflower petals. Going all the way around. I need to have those seed lines, so I'm going to draw my straight diagonals. Whoop, there we go. Now it looks like this sunflower is in front of that one. How awesome is that? So I'm going to stop here for today, and the next time I see you, we'll finish up the vase and we'll start coloring. All right, bye guys. Garden artist, today we're going to start working